and welcome to part 13, the Baker's Dozen episode of Horizon Forbidden West. From what I understand, this will probably be part 13 of like 100 because I'm moving so slowly through this, but that's okay because this has been a wonderful, wonderful playthrough. Please leave a like on the stream, leave a comment. I love those of you that leave comments. Thank you for doing that. Your engagement with these videos helps them hit the algorithm, which means more eyeballs on them, which means more support, which is awesome. I want more people to benefit from these streams. So if you think there's anybody in your life that could benefit from watching these and they're looking for Let's Plays, have them check out my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Follow the links down in the description as well. Come say hi in Twitch chat sometime. I really like when people do that. So, yeah. I left you on a little bit of a cliffhanger there. Sorry about that. Let's start in coming hot. Here we go. Gaia Kernel. At the Eye of the Earth. Then we jumped in and we're actually in Las Vegas in the Sphere. I'm just so desperate to be in Las Vegas in this game.
No!
Well,
Minerva, I need the console. Please.
Access denied.
It didn't used to be like this. Do you remember it? Anything? You were part of something bigger once. Something good. Gaia. That's right. She can live again. But only if you give her the chance. I can't reboot her without you.
Will I cease?
I think you'll disappear into her. Become part of her. Like you used to be.
Misery will cease.
Yes.
ooh.
Thank you. Thank you, Minerva.
There's a big promise, Aloy.
Elizabeth Sobek. Alpha Prime.
Master override activated. Restoring Minerva function to original code. Do you wish to initiate heuristic matrix?
Here goes.
Greetings, Dr. Sobek. A moment. Scanning data.
Whoa. Dude. Chill. Let's just bring all your trauma up.
Aloy, not Elizabeth. We have much to discuss, but initialization of my heuristic matrix will not be complete for several minutes more. In the meantime, I suggest you familiarize yourself with this facility. It is our best option for a base of operations, and you can make use of its equipment to improve your ability to override machines.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good.
Shall I grant access to your companions? They will be here shortly.
Okay, but don't overwhelm them, okay? They don't have a lot of experience with things like, well, you.
So no fake this time?
No. This time she's real. Varl, Zoe. This is Gaia.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Gaia's still, waking up. Let's look around.
I will highlight the location of the lab on your focus. I have established a network between your focuses, allowing you to communicate when apart.
Good. So what was this place?
A regional control center, where Zero Dawn progeny would have overseen terraforming operations in the area.
Dude, this is trippy as hell. And again, how they're not freaking out, good for them. So Minerva, when by itself, was miserable. Which I could understand, because if you are left to your... I mean, just as a full disclaimer here for the rest of this series, let alone the rest of this episode, I have to say something similar to what I said during the Zero Dawn playthrough, which is AI and the idea of their sentience is uncharted territory for me as a psychologist. Like, I'm not going to pretend to know all of the intricacies of what is and isn't capable as it relates to the AIs that are here. So I'm just going to kind of do my best to relate certain things to real life and development where I can. And so I have a hypothesis about why Minerva may have been miserable. I don't know it to be true. Maybe we'll find out later in the playthrough. But I would have to imagine that Minerva being split out into her own space as her own entity. One, she's not really coded to be that. She's coded to be a subordinate function of Gaia. But if we take the AI as essentially being like a living thing, like a human, I think the closest analogy would be, imagine if a child was born and the child is like a super genius in a particular area, but that child is never allowed to like leave the house. Or when it is, it's only allowed to leave the house for a very specific reason in very specific areas. And the only socialization and understanding of its existence is relative to its parent. And then all of a sudden, as an adult, say 25 years later, you pull that kid out of the home and move them 3 states away and say, all right, live. Because I believe that you shouldn't have to be attached at the hip to your parents all the time because of some arbitrary sense of what it means to be an adult. That's kind of what happened to Minerva. And if you think about it that way, kind of sucks. Like, I would have to imagine that existence to some extent is pain for Minerva because Minerva didn't collect developmental data that would put it in a position where it could like interpret and understand its environment autonomously in the way that it might be capable of if it had a different kind of socialization. So the fact is essentially this, we're like, you know what? No, we're gonna take you back home and we're gonna let you be with mom again. The amount of like safety and security and familiarity you would have there would be huge. So who knows what kind of, yeah, I mean, and yeah, right. Take the kid thinking that their parent is dead when you take them 3 states away. I mean, like, it just, the whole thing would be really brutal for a person to be able to handle that. Like, there's not really a innate resiliency that all of a sudden makes a human or an AI built in the human image. They're not going to handle that well, so to speak. Like, you're gonna struggle and you're gonna feel pain, and that's gonna suck a lot. So Aloy coming in and trying to reassure Minerva and then reintegrating with Gaia really is like a merciful act as far as I'm concerned. Because they were not designed to be autonomous functions.
I suggest you explore this facility, Aloy, until my initialization is complete.
Can do. What's up, guys? What do you think? Pretty neat. Little home base here. Game over, girly. Thanks for the Prime sub. All right.
What's all this?
This was intended as the main gathering space for Control Center operatives.
You could fit a good number of people in here.
Or maybe just a few. To start with, you two go ahead. I'm going to poke around a bit.
Dude, if I get a base of operations, that's freaking sweet.
So this was supposed to be a lab.
That was its intended purpose. Some of the machine data you recovered from the repair bay below us appears to be corrupted. Accessing the terminal in this room will show you how to repair and complete the override.
I'll take a look.
Ooh, fabrication terminal. Plowhorn override, an acquisition machine that plows the soil, excuse me, before sowing fertilizer and seeds. It leaves a trail of fast-growing plants and a cloud of dust that can be used for stealth. Tau override available. Craft this override to unlock the ability to override this machine in the wilds. I need 3 plowhorn horns and 1 primary nerve. Would you like to set this job as your active quest? Sure, why not?
Huh. Looks like I need data from machine parts to fix the corrupted override.
My initialization is complete. You may continue to explore the facility, Aloy. When you are ready, return to the control room. We have much to discuss.
So it would seem. I do want to explore a little more, though.
So this place was here all this time. Built for people who would never show up.
Why didn't they?
Remember that guy I told you about? Ted Farrow? He sabotaged things. It wasn't supposed to be this way. Looks like an office.
Correct. The facility was designed with a number of private offices.
I guess it's nice to have a space to call your own.
It is indeed, Varl. Yeah, old Uncle Teddy really did a number.
This would have been an access point for advanced training modules on terraforming operations. Unfortunately, those modules were deleted when the Apollo database was destroyed.
Is
That's
that
too
bad? No, it is. It's too bad. I mean, yeah, you would need to have these types of facilities in place, I guess, if you're going to have, I mean, later down the line, right? Humans at some point are going to intervene with the way that the environment's being created and terraformed, so you would need
What's
to have
this
these types
space
of
for?
things.
This would have been the sleeping quarters for Control Center operatives.
Reminds me of the bedhouse aspirants had to sleep in the night before the proving.
Yeah. Bed there. Bed here. Yeah, alright. This is the bathroom. Grand tour.
Looks like another office.
If no one's ever been here, who built all this?
Gaia did. With the help of machines.
That's wild. The basement.
Oh, I've been down here before. It's where I first got into the facility.
What's all this stuff for?
This facility was designed to process an immense amount of data from the terraforming system. This is where it would have been stored.
And
Aloy, you have now visited all accessible rooms of the facility.
thank you, Gaia, for telling me. Except this one. Come on. There we go. I do really appreciate that they build those things into the game. Okay, so then now Gaia is up the stairs.
Okay. Maybe it's time to talk to Gaia.
I'll leave you to it.
Thank you, Varl. Don't want to overwhelm yourself. All right, Gaia, what do you got for me?
Hello, Aloy.
Hi. So you're ready?
Yes. Initialization is complete. All tests show that my heuristic matrix launched correctly and is stable. You must have many questions.
Yeah. But two big ones first. We're not gonna be able to fix the biosphere without making you whole. I ran a search for your subfunctions at the Hades Proving Lab, but Minerva was the only one I found.
Thankfully, the sensory capabilities of this facility are far more advanced. I will search for the others now. Transmitting query pattern.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Receiving.
Don't be all over the planet. Vegas.
Of Apollo, Artemis, and Eleuthia, I can find no trace. They are simply gone.
What about the others?
Oh.
Ether, Demeter, and Poseidon are revealed. They lie within reach. Procurable.
Cool.
And Hephaestus?
It too stands revealed, but it is not like the others.
That's for sure.
In the years since the extinction signal, Hephaestus has evolved. Moreover, it is not confined to a single location. It haunts the global network that connects cauldrons to each other across the planet, making it exceptionally difficult to subdue.
Let me guess. We need it bad?
Correct. Its capabilities are essential. Without it, I can only delay the extinction of life on Earth. Hephaestus is our only hope of a permanent solution.
So we start there?
Unfortunately, we cannot. Procuring Hephaestus can only be attempted after my own capabilities have been significantly enhanced.
Grab the other subordinate functions first, then Hephaestus.
Precisely so.
So, Ether, Demeter, and Poseidon. How do I capture them?
To recover a subordinate function, you will have to travel to its location and find the physical processor to which it escaped. Then, exactly as you did with Minerva, you must use the master override to revert the subordinate function to its original code state.
And then how do I get it back here?
The subordinate function must be loaded onto a data storage device and physically carried back to this facility.
The cartridge your root kernel was stored on?
Yes. Its capacity is limited, so it can only carry one subordinate function at a time. But in all other respects, it will suffice.
All right. I was thinking we were going to have to go after like 7 of them. I'm interested in knowing the extent to which things are possible without all of the others. Like, Gaia seems pretty confident that she can do her job with the ones that are remaining. But I'm sure we'll find out. It's just interesting that they're not all available.
Maybe you can help me make sense of something. A while ago, I had a run-in with a group of strangers who tried to kill me. They had machine servitors and a clone of Elizabeth Sobek with them.
Yes, this was recorded by your focus.
Do you know who they are?
The answer to that question is related to the extinction signal that woke Hades, prompting my predecessor's self-destruction.
The extinction signal? Okay, that sounds ominous.
The signal did not come from Earth, Aloy.
No way.
The calculations are complicated, but it appears to have originated 81 trillion kilometers away.
It's a lot.
A distance so vast that light itself requires 8.611 years to cross it.
Okay, so what's so far away and why does it want us dead?
The Sirius star system.
Are you serious?
Serious? But that's where Far Zenith, their ship.
The Odyssey.
Yes, that's where it was headed. But it blew up.
Nope, apparently not.
I don't... Why make it seem like they failed?
Okay, I'm having a second here, and I just gotta pause it because I'm gonna lose my focus if I don't. I hypothesized all the way back in Zero Dawn. I hypothesized that they lied because it makes sense why you would. Because if you tell everybody that Odyssey blew up, it gets them focused on now because they think that they matter. They think that what they are doing is the only thing that's going to save humanity. As soon as you told those people that the Odyssey launched fine and made it, it takes the edge off. And I'm feeling really freaking good about myself right now that I called that. And a huge shout out to Gorilla for going there because it makes so much sense to me that you would do that. Of course you would do that. And I'm pretty sure that back in Zero Dawn, I said, that's a necessary lie. It's kind of shitty. You like the idea that everybody knows everything, but if everybody knows everything, sometimes it affects them in a particular type of way. And so the fact that the Odyssey is still around, it doesn't surprise me because it makes complete sense why you would lie about it. Complete sense. Probably part of the protocol all along. Now, I'm going to look like a total jackass if what Gaia says right now is not true. And she's like, no, that's actually not what happened. We thought it blew up, but it didn't. And it wasn't intentional. But if this was intentional, it's you got to do it. Because the thing is, look, if you run calculations and logistics on this in terms of how humans are going to react to certain things psychologically, it makes complete sense why you would do this on a lot of levels. But the reality is, whether the Odyssey actually makes it or not is inconsequential to the directive of Zero Dawn. And it doesn't really benefit anybody on Earth to know that Odyssey made it, other than some nice comforting, like, ooh, that's so nice that it made it, and I can feel good that it made it. But it is going to destroy productivity. Because if you are then presented with a chance to hang out with your family for a week, or put your nose to the grindstone for a week and not see your family because this is all humanity has, if you know that the Odyssey made it, you might take the time with your family. Like, you might say, you know what, screw it. I'm going to go play a round of golf and get ground to meat pulp on the 16th fairway by a Pharaoh robot, because that's how I want to go out. I'm going to just let Odyssey do its thing. And is there an argument to be made that, like, that would be kind of nice if it gave people a bit more autonomy to decide what they want to do with the rest of their life because they're informed? Like, yes, I can get on board with that. It's an impossible decision. I mean, we talked about this ad nauseum in Zero Dawn. Impossible decisions had to be made all the way throughout this. But if you're looking at Zero Dawn as a secondary or a backup or a parallel to the Odyssey, and you need people to have a sense of purpose and be connected to the project at all costs, you absolutely lie to them about the existence of Odyssey. You do it 10 times out of 10. So we'll see if we'll see. I needed to talk this out because I was starting to get all up in my head about it, of like, holy shit, did I actually call this?
They didn't want anyone to know. They didn't want future humans to think that they were out there. Wait. The strangers who tried to kill me at the Hades Proving Lab? The ones with the clone? Are you saying that they're from... that they're descendants of... Far Zenith?
Yes, that is my conclusion.
Whoa! That's nutty. But I guess where I'm confused, and I guess we're going to get more information about this down the line, is why would Far Zenith care about whether or not humanity perpetuated itself on Earth? Like, it almost makes me wonder if the extinction ordinance was done mercifully? I guess I don't understand what's at stake for them. Because as far as they know, well, I guess they wouldn't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess we don't know. They would maybe wake up and not know that people on Earth thought that the Odyssey blew up. Or did the clone of oh my god, does the clone of Ted Faro exist on the Odyssey? Because there's a bunch of rich people. Does the clone of Ted Faro exist? And then Ted Faro came back and was like, no, the Earth can't exist because the Earth will know that it was me. I destroyed Apollo. Oh my God. If the clone of Ted Faro came back and was like, nah, man, I got to do myself a solid. I got to do myself a solid here. Hades! Hey! Go to Earth and blow it up. Stop them. Be mad that they're progressing and blow them up, because I don't want people to know that I screwed this up. That would be wild. Wild. But you know what? Who else do we know of that would send a signal and then travel 81 trillion miles, 8 light years, to save his ego? It would be Ted Faro. That would be nuts. Just a hypothesis. But like, truly, you got to ask yourself here, like, what is the motivation? Why on earth would you want to send that signal over? Oh, no pun intended. Why would you want to send that signal to the Earth to engage the extinction protocol, given the fact that you successfully made it? They're 8 light years away. Very interesting. So, all right, let's learn more, because this is amazing. Oh, baby, here we go. What do you got? What do you got for me, Gaia?
The sole purpose of the signal was to destroy life on Earth, right? Why would descendants of Far Zenith want to do that?
At this point, we can only speculate.
Yeah, but do it.
Earth
Come on.
posed no threat to them. We don't have the technology to get in their way. We didn't even know about them.
True.
Unless... well... could it be that they want the planet for themselves? The strangers I ran into, they were after a Gaia backup of their own. I mean, if they did that, if they booted their own Gaia and boosted her power, until she could take control of Hephaestus, and then the whole terraforming system.
Then yes, the system could be used to do what the extinction signal failed to accomplish. Snuff out life, and then potentially to build an entirely new biosphere to their specifications.
Wow.
So they could be trying to do the same thing we are.
But with opposite results.
Extinction instead of salvation. Well, this is not good.
Okay. I mean, I was ready for some crazy ass shit tonight, but I wasn't ready for this. Oh my god. Okay. Oh my god. All right. We're gonna we're gonna put this into a sociological perspective and an intergroup system dynamic standpoint here. Oh my god. All right. So humans as animals, organisms that have survived in groups, survive in those groups in large part because they perpetuate the agenda and motivations of the group. So as a result, we are inherently biased by the groups that we belong to. And not always in a bad way. Like, it's not like always nefarious. It just is what it is. So, like, for example, if you believe yourself to be like a member of this community, the Dr. Mick community, and you want the Dr. Mick community to survive and prosper, you hit the likes and you comment and stuff. You will do those things because you want it to survive. You want this community to survive, but you have inherently biased yourself in favor of, to an extent, giving me a benefit of the doubt and trusting in whatever directive I may have for this community. So this is just a broader scale of that, okay? So I want you to think about like the Nora and like all the people that exist right now on planet Earth. There are intergroup dynamics where we're all fighting with ourselves, but there is still some collective transcendental sense that we want to survive, which is why the groups all fight for their survival and their existence and the things that they believe in. So we see it on this like micro level within the tribes, but then there's also this like bigger level where now we have Earth and all the people on it with their particular directives of like wanting to perpetuate the survival of humans and the Earth itself. Well, that comes along with it its own set of biases. We see Gaia pop up and we go, yay! We hear Minerva go back into Gaia so that Gaia can get stronger and we go, yay! We see Hades trying to destroy the planet and get pissed off when humans do well, and we go, boo! Those are biases, because Hades has shown itself not to be particularly helpful to us as it relates to our own survival. So we have polarized a bit against Hades here. Well, we have all collectively, to an extent, decided that because we want the Earth to live, we're going to develop our society in a particular type of way, and we're going to fight about how that gets done, but we want the Earth to move forward. And that's very important to us. Well, here's the crazy ass part about this entire thing is that's happening for the Odyssey folks too. So the Odyssey folks are going through the exact same thing. We very well could have played the Horizon series from the perspective of the people on the Odyssey. And the entire premise of this game could have gone in the direction of there's shit going on back at Earth that we got to take care of. And we got to make sure that we put the Earth into its own space and reset it so that it could be the way that we have learned to live. And it would be this like whole future scientific thing. And we'd be like, oh shit, there's humans there that are like very tribal that we might have to knock out, but we'd be like propagandized into believing that that's a good thing to do, or we just wouldn't tell the masses that that's happening, and we would buy into that, and we'd be sitting in front of a Gaia on the Odyssey being like, oh shit, this is some big heavy decisions we got to make here about the Earth because whatever. So that's literally happening over there. So both sets of humans are going to feel justified in what it is that they're trying to accomplish, and are inherently, as a result, going to potentially see each other as a barrier to accomplishing what they want to accomplish. We're a barrier to them accomplishing the terraforming of the Earth in the way that they want it. They are a barrier to my own survival because they tried to kill me last time I ran into them. So this is like ridiculously complicated. And this is why when we talk about like how systems are in layers, it's like a giant bullseye that just extends out like an onion with layers. Like this is what we're talking about. Like you get micro systems, and then those are embedded in mesosystems and macro systems, and it just goes out and out and out. And now we have this whole ecosystem here on Earth that's at odds with the ecosystem 8 light years away. That has advanced itself in a particular type of way, which has, again, as I've talked about during this playthrough, survival is the ultimate reinforcement mechanism. So what they've been doing has been reinforced as good because they have continued to perpetuate themselves. And so now here we are thinking that what we've been doing is good because it has helped us perpetuate ourselves. And now we're going to lock horns here. And what a crazy series of events. I mean, this makes my brain just light up. Wish I had like a brain scan thing going on right above me here so y'all can see my brain, because like as they're talking about this, oh baby. Yeah, it's just two tribes against one another. Like there's a concept, talked about this in other playthroughs, but there's a concept called isomorphism. And there's isomorphism happening between the tribes and the humans versus Odyssey humans. That isomorphism being the vying for survival, the vying for power, control, and propagation of the species. And so we're seeing that same process transcend itself up the ladder of wider systems, and it's really incredible stuff.
The descendants I ran into at the Hades Proving Lab, they had a clone of Elizabeth Sobek. So that's consistent with the idea that they came here to salvage Zero Dawn technologies, right?
Yes. As your own experience demonstrates, a clone of Elizabeth Sobek functions in effect as a key to the terraforming system.
But how could they have made a clone?
The Odyssey carried approximately 200,000 human zygotes, millions of animal zygotes, and billions of plant seeds. It is conceivable that Elizabeth Sobek's genetic material was sampled, with or without her knowledge, and carried aboard the ship in storage.
That's... okay, but... I mean... This clone... How could she participate in this? Destroying Elizabeth's dream? It's evil.
It is difficult to know. Perhaps she is loyal to the group and shares their objectives. Or perhaps she is a subordinate and has no choice but to comply with their orders.
Elizabeth Sobek? A subordinate? I don't think so.
So this is a really tricky space here now, because we got to be very careful not to make assumptions of intent. Like, this is going to get us into the entire conversation about nature and nurture. Like, just because Aloy shares some of the gusto that the original Elizabeth Sobek had doesn't mean that the other one will, because Aloy was nurtured a particular way. Like, even though Aloy may have had some kind of genetic predisposition to be a certain way, the original Elizabeth Sobek developed in context. The original Elizabeth Sobek had reinforcement mechanisms in place that allowed her to be as strong and resilient and linearly focused as she was. Like, that gets cultivated. That's not directed to your genes. Like, your genes don't dictate that you're going to be the savior of the world. That's not on there. So the way that things get expressed through nurture is absolutely going to be a thing, because Aloy had Rost. Rost facilitated Aloy's independence. One of Aloy's most formative, powerful experiences was being isolated from the tribe that she thought she was supposed to belong to. She learned that she had to survive by being herself and doing her own thing and being somebody who was, in some ways, antithetical to the group that she was supposed to be a part of. So that's going to cultivate the type of spirit that Aloy brings into the things that she does. It very well could be that this Elizabeth Sobek was unlocked from the jar, born, and then immediately thrown into propaganda and like a cult, or was like essentially is like in service to a very specific agenda. Like, we don't know, but that type of nurture around Elizabeth Sobek is going to mean that she's going to express herself into the environment entirely different than what we might otherwise see in some of these other clones. Like, her temperament might be similar, but you could beat that out of somebody with enough years. So that, what Gaia said, is the much more practical approach here. It's the much more like holistically minded way of looking at it, of like, yeah, Aloy, she's you, so to speak, but she might have an entirely different lived experience that didn't facilitate this. And that's what makes human interactions and dynamics so fascinating, is we are products of our environment. We are absolutely products of the things that have reinforced our survival and our existence over the course of our lives. You can't get away from that. So it's really wild that, you know, this exists. But to get back to my original point here, you don't want to over speculate on this, because we really don't know. The thing that we know is what our directive is, and we know that to this point, those people don't seem particularly interested in engaging with us in a meaningful way. And that's the variable we have to work with here. Wow.
So if the Descendants came to Earth on a spaceship, I guess we can assume that their technology is powerful in all sorts of ways, right?
Yes, as your encounter with them at the Proving Lab amply demonstrates. They appear to make extensive use of robotic servitors. Further, they seem to be equipped with some kind of protective energy field that shields them from harm.
Yeah, no kidding. The one I fought seemed indestructible.
Throughout history, every defensive technology has eventually been defeated by an offensive counterpart. Perhaps a way can be found to defeat their shielding.
Yeah, I hope so. Or I'm not gonna be winning fights against them anytime soon.
Yeah, no kidding. Yo, Dan! What's up, bud? Thanks for the raid. I appreciate it. I'll use this as an opportunity. Also, Celeste, thank you for the raid. I'll use this as a opportunity to say to those of you that are coming on the raid, and those of you that are watching via YouTube, thanks for watching my stuff. If you're coming along with Dan or Celeste, I am Dr. Mick. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I have a PhD in human development, and this is Game Sessions with a Therapist, where we play cool games like Horizon Forbidden West, talk about mental health, psychology, therapy, and more in an effort to destigmatize those things and bring information to people who wouldn't otherwise have it in a responsible and ethical way. I don't do therapy on stream, but I do answer questions related to mental health at the beginning of my streams. When I play games like this, I analyze them using my therapy brain. So as things come up, I pause the game all the time, and we analyze all the human dynamics and the psychology of what's happening in these games. We're at a very key moment right now in Horizon Forbidden West. It is a spoiler-free run, so I do ask that you please not post any spoilers or backseating or anything like that. If you're not sure, like, if I've done something or whatever, I just ask that you just assume I haven't and kind of get a feel for where I'm at. But I really appreciate you all being here. Dan, I hope you had an awesome stream, dude. And Celeste, I hope you had an awesome stream as well. But Dan's a good friend of the stream. I know Dan. I've hung out with Dan at places like TwitchCon. He's a great dude. Drop a follow. Yeah, but thanks for hanging out. We're at a key moment right now where we have just learned that there is a civilization of humans 8 light years away that are trying to destroy the Earth. Okay.
You said Sirius is really far from Earth.
81 trillion kilometers, or 8.611 light years.
Right. So, how would the Descendants have gotten here?
On a spacecraft much like the Odyssey, though significantly more advanced. The journey from Earth to Sirius would have taken the Odyssey almost 300 years. This appears to have been much faster. If their ship departed Sirius at the same moment the extinction signal first began transmitting, the journey was made in just 29 years at an average of 0.297 the speed of light. If they did not set out for Earth until they learned of the extinction signal's failure, the journey was even faster. A mere 13 years, or 0.662 the speed of light.
Okay, enough. You're making my head spin.
So that actually adds a really interesting dynamic to that. They may not have known that humans made it. They may have thought they were just sending an extinction protocol to, like, plants. I don't know. I mean, this is wild shit, right? Because shit went sideways here on Earth. Like, stuff didn't go the way that it was planned. Although they seemed like when they ran into me that they were anticipating that, so... Holy crap.
How did you figure out that the extinction signal came from Sirius?
The key came with data on your focus, from Silent's interrogation of Hades. The duration of the signal itself, 17.22 years.
That doesn't make sense. You said that the signal took 8.6 years to arrive from Sirius. Why would the signal keep transmitting after it was received and you blew yourself up?
Because the sender didn't know that had happened until it received notice from Hades.
Which would take another 8.6 years to get back.
Correct. Only then would the sender stop broadcasting after a total of 17.22 years. So the duration, halved, gave me the distance the signal traveled. With that in mind, I simply scanned my astronomical database for any relevant location 8.6 light years away. Because it was Far Zenith's intended destination, Sirius was the only logical source.
This is awesome! Dude, the amount that this is thought out makes me so happy, because normally I hate shit like this, and I am all for it because this was so beautifully thought out. I am so happy right now. This is awesome. God, man.
The extinction signal didn't just wake Hades. It made every subordinate function self-aware. Why?
I have wondered this myself. So far as I can tell, Hades was the sole target, and the partial sentience imparted to other subordinate functions was incidental.
So the signal could only have been sent by someone who had thorough knowledge of the system, huh?
Yes. The signal's design was exceptionally precise and highly advanced. Were its intentions less malevolent, I would admire the intellect or intellects that produced it.
Yeah, well, of course she's not going to like it because she's the antithesis to Hades. I mean, Hades' entire function is to extinguish progress. So if Hades is left unabated, Hades will look at any human progress, any terraforming progress, as a problem and try to extinguish it. So it stands to reason that as humans came out of the mountain and started to make tribes, and the Earth started to come back together, Hades being awakened would be pissed off by the fact that the Utaru have created all this farmland, that the Nora have sustained themselves in Mother's Cradle, that the Karja are doing pretty good in Meridian. Like, its entire thing is like, wait a second, these people are doing well? Die. It's like that person in your friend group who's like a total buzzkill, and anytime somebody's doing well, they take it personally and they like try to ruin it. Like, that's who Hades is. He's that friend. You don't really want that friend around. And these people from like the house across the street were like, we are sending that friend over there to ruin your party. Like, that's literally what's happening. Oh, baby.
The 3 subordinate functions that you detected. What do we know about them?
All 3 are relevant to problems currently plaguing the biosphere. Ether is responsible for detoxifying the atmosphere and moderating the weather. Poseidon controls the organic and chemical composition of water resources. Demeter sows, fertilizes, and tends to plant life. If all 3 were restored to me, they would constitute a massive increase to my heuristic processing density. But beware. Their responses to my query pattern were irregular. In human terms, they are frightened, lost, and paranoid.
Yep.
Like Minerva. They need to be whole again.
Exactly.
Yep. Makes sense. Yeah, and they're children that got taken away from their helicopter mom after 21 years and were told to go live on their own. And they're like, I don't know how to do this. So it makes complete sense why they'd be freaking out. Absolutely makes sense.
The missing subordinate functions. What can you tell me about them?
Artemis rewilded the Earth with a variety of animal species. Eleuthia was responsible for gestating, nurturing, and acculturating a new generation of human beings. Apollo was tasked with preserving, organizing, and disseminating vast archives of human knowledge and cultural achievements. Unfortunately, all archived Apollo data was purged on the 2nd of February, 2066, by order of Ted Faro.
Pharaoh,
Yep.
huh? I really hate that guy.
Understandable. He appears to have been pathologically narcissistic, impulsive, and unstable.
All 3 of the missing functions have already served their purpose, or were prevented from doing so. Do you still need them?
If attainable, yes. Restoring their remaining elements would increase my heuristic processing density. Unfortunately, I have no way to track them. They have disappeared without a trace.
So those are your side quests, Aloy. Main quests are over here. Those are, you find them along the way. I that delivery of the line understandable was the most empathic line ever delivered in this series ever. Like just that one single understandable. Yeah, I get it. I get why you might be a bit peeved by old Uncle Teddy coming in and deleting Apollo because he doesn't want everybody to know that he was a dick. So good.
You said you need Hephaestus to save life from extinction. Why?
Every subordinate function has value, but Hephaestus is by far the most important.
Hephaestus is the
Only by
bestest.
recovering and merging it can I regain my ability to design and mass-produce new machines at cauldrons across the planet. Only through it can I program new machines and alter the tasking of existing machines to completely reverse environmental damage. Recovering other subordinate functions may buy us time, but without Hephaestus, I cannot permanently stave off mass extinction.
Makes sense.
Given Hephaestus's importance, is there really no way to capture and merge it first?
I'm afraid that is quite impossible. In my present state, launched and merged with Minerva, I am operating at less than 1/5, 18.8%, of my intended processing capacity. Hephaestus dwarfs this figure. Were an attempt made to conduct the merge under these circumstances, Hephaestus would absorb me rather than the other way around. A merge cannot be attempted until my heuristic processing density exceeds its own.
That's wild. I am amazed that this, I mean, maybe this was just a bug or whatever, but like I'm amazed that a subordinate function has the ability to absorb Gaia herself, given its power relative to the ecosystem there. Like that's amazing to me that she's like, no. Nah, dude, we can't mess with Hephaestus. Because right now, Hephaestus is gonna eat me like Pac-Man. Jeez, man. This is humans. You know, it's just humans just messing around with stuff. You know, the fact that humans don't really understand existence itself really shows itself in these types of moments. Like, the arrogance of humanity is the core of all of this. Like, we just love to believe that we know the answer. People are like, oh, yeah, God's real, that's it. Or, you know, whatever. Like, there's like, yeah, that's totally it. Like, you know, or we exist because, you know, physics. The universe exploded. That's what it is. Like, we act like we know these things to be absolutely true. And so then we make decisions in some ways based on this shit. And so, like, this whole thing is like humans basically being like, yeah, we understand the nature of like life and how to make it work and how to bring it back, even though we just extinguished ourselves with technology. Yeah. And so all this shit goes off the rails because, of course, it's going to go off the rails because we don't know everything and we're messing around with shit that we don't totally understand. So it's amazing that a byproduct of this is that you could have an AI, you could have the subordinate functions of Gaia get separated off, have their own autonomous existence, learn, be slave to their general principles and their general like agenda of what it is that they're supposed to accomplish. They don't have any governing principle to do it. So they go out and they're like, all right, well, I'll just figure this shit out. And then they do. And then Gaia comes back and she's like, yeah, well, you know, I'm supposed to be like the unifying force here, but the fact that those things were designed the way they were, I could get destroyed by that, and we can't have Hephaestus running the show right now. Damn.
And how many subordinate functions is that going to take?
Merging Ether, Demeter, and Poseidon will expand my heuristic network to 41.6% capacity, exceeding that of Hephaestus.
You said Hephaestus isn't located in just one place.
Correct. Unlike the other subordinate functions, which are confined to discrete physical processors, Hephaestus is distributed throughout the global network that connects the planet's cauldrons.
So, when the time comes to subdue it, how do we make that happen?
I do not know. While you are retrieving the procurable subordinate functions, I will attempt to find a solution.
So, once Hephaestus has been recovered and merged, you'll regain the capacity to mass-produce machines at cauldrons around the world.
Yes, and to program their behavioral routines, or even control them directly.
So could you build an army of machines? Attack the descendants of Far Zenith and take them out?
What? Aloy!
It is in my nature to take any and all necessary steps to preserve life on Earth. Human life above all. So yes, once I have been empowered with the capacities of Hephaestus, I could design, build, and command such an army. Given the nature of the Far Zenith threat, doing so may be our only option. I must admit, however, that I have misgivings about using such technology to kill, no matter how aggressive the enemy.
Which is why Hades existed. Of course she would not be down with that. I'm actually kind of amazed that Aloy even went in that direction yet. Like, oh, but how do we kill? Like, of course Gaia is going to be like, no. They literally had to create a counter AI because Gaia would respond that way. So it makes sense to me that she wouldn't have any interest in that. And she's like, I like humans. And like, as far as I'm concerned, Far Zenith are humans. So asking me to make an army, that starts to get, look, man, what's wild about this whole thing, and part of why I think the destruction of Apollo was just so unbelievably egregious, is because to an extent, Aloy's repeating history by asking that question. Like, the whole reason Pharaoh robots exist to an extent, or why they got to be a problem, is because they were used for military functioning and they went off the rails and they started to destroy shit. They used biomass in order to carry that out. So Aloy's suggesting, well, wait a second. Why don't we make some robots and send them to Far Zenith and kill them? I mean, she's essentially doing the same thing that humans were doing before all this shit went down. So I could totally understand why Gaia would have misgivings about it. She'd be like, those machines are going to need fuel, Aloy. And remember how you spent an entire game learning about how those machines need for fuel and self-replication ended up leading to the destruction of humanity? You remember that? This is why Apollo's important. This is why we learn history, because we learn history so that we don't do the same stupid shit over again. When Ted Faro destroyed history, he essentially made it more possible that humans are going to be dumb again and do it this way. So, yeah, not fantastic, Aloy. Let's maybe not go there yet. You know, Aloy has a tendency to look at things as how do we fight them. She doesn't tend to look at things and go, what kind of diplomacy can we engage in? Perhaps we could figure out how to get answers from the Far Zenith people. Maybe there's a way we can work together. Maybe we're not what they expected. I don't know. But she doesn't really go in that direction. She's like, okay, well, obviously we have to kill Far Zenith.
That's good. It means you have a conscience. As Elizabeth intended.
Indeed.
Holy Christ, man.
So if the Descendants came to Earth on a spaceship, I guess we can assume that their technology is powerful in all sorts of ways, right?
Yes, as your encounter with them at the Proving Lab amply demonstrates. They appear to make extensive use of robotic servitors. Further, they seem to be equipped energy
Yeah, no
I
kidding.
already did that.
throughout every for example, assuming
Blah, blah,
So
blah.
always.
I needed that to be grayed out.
What is the state of the biosphere? Is the terraforming system functioning at all?
In a sense, the terraforming system never stopped functioning. The difference, since my predecessor's destruction, is that there has been no central governing intelligence to monitor its robotic agents and assign new tasks. As a result, errors have accrued, and day by day, the biosphere has gradually veered ever more sharply towards destruction. In recent months, disturbances in the biosphere have become obvious. But these bellwether phenomena offer just the merest glimpse of the complex and accelerating cycles of environmental dysfunction, now driving Earth's biosphere towards collapse.
And you can't do anything to stop it.
If you can return Ether, Poseidon, and Demeter to me, I can improvise modest corrections to parts of the system. Weather will improve, water will be purified, and rampant plant growth curtailed. But such corrections will not stave off collapse. They will only buy us time. Only with Hephaestus can I design and produce new robotic agents designed to permanently reverse the damage that has accumulated. All efforts must be directed toward that end.
You got to do it in 2 days.
How long do we have then?
At present rates, without additional factors, the biosphere will cross a point of no return in approximately 4 months.
And if I gather Ether, Demeter, Poseidon, merge you with them?
We will only gain a few months more.
Well, every bit counts.
Zero Dawn 2.0. Let's go. Oh boy. Oh, lordy lord. Okay. Wow. Wow. Humans really love to be up against it when they do crazy shit. Woo! I'm glad Aloy didn't hear that and have crippling anxiety and depression, but like that's not a lot of time.
I guess I should get going and start bringing back subordinate functions. What can you tell me about their locations?
When my predecessor destroyed herself, the subordinate functions sought physical processors capable of holding them. So in each case you will be looking for a powerful computer of some kind. Ether is the closest, and therefore might be the easiest to acquire. However, it appears to be in the middle of Tenakt territory. My knowledge of that tribe is limited to data I read on your focus, but they seem to have a significant inclination towards violence.
Well, that's a nice way to put it. What about Poseidon and Demeter?
Poseidon has taken shelter in the desert south of this location. My substratal geography data indicates that a major old world settlement called
Yes!
Las Vegas was
Yes!
located there.
We're going there.
A ruin in the middle of the desert, huh? Strange place for an AI devoted to water.
Agreed. As for Demeter,
Yes.
it appears to be located on the coast to the far west. Unfortunately, I am unable to provide any relevant data about the region. As such, it may be the most difficult to retrieve.
Okay, so 3 subordinate functions to go after. Ether, somewhere in Tenakth territory. Poseidon in the desert, and Demeter on the coast.
Where will you begin?
Vegas! Vegas, baby! We're going to Vegas. We are 1,000% going to Vegas. Are you kidding me? I've been trying to do this shit for Poseidon level 22. I don't level. Kiss my ass. We're going to Vegas.
I think I'll head south. Try for Poseidon.
Understood. Poseidon will now appear as the objective on your focus. Once it is merged, I may be able to detoxify rivers, streams, and lakes associated with the regional watershed. Though I will require Hephaestus and the control over machines that it offers to...
Okay, because I can't pay attention to what Guy is saying right now until I get this out. Gorilla missed a huge opportunity. The level requirement for Vegas should have been 21. That would have been beautiful, chef's kiss cherry on top of that entire thing. Like, come on. That writes itself, man. You got to be level 21 to get into Vegas.
Permanently stabilize the biosphere. Should you change your mind, you can update your objective via your focus interface at any time. I will also transmit a summary of available data on all of the subordinate functions to you for reference. Is there anything else I can help you with? I know you have a great deal to accomplish.
I do, don't I?
Is something wrong?
I don't know. It's just that... Elizabeth set the bar pretty high. She had a dream for you, for life on Earth, and a lot has gone wrong, and it's all on my shoulders to fix it. Do you think I can do it all? Repair the system, defeat Varzenith, live up to her example?
Okay. Time to get serious for a second. Before Gaia answers this, I talk a lot on these streams about how when you experience anxiety, excessive reassurance seeking is something that will cultivate more anxiety. Like reliance upon other people to reassure you over and over and over again can actually make anxiety worse because you don't learn to manage it on your own. That is not what's happening here. That is not the direction that I'm taking here. I actually greatly appreciate that Aloy is willing to go there. And I find it somewhat interesting that Aloy sees an artificial intelligence as something she is more capable or willing to confide in than other humans. This is not a thing we've seen from Aloy much. So I see this as a real piece of development for her. It's the product of the fact that she has become more just aware of her general role in the greater environment, and it's gotten her thinking about who she is and what she's capable of. It is totally common and okay when you are staring down a gauntlet of something that is greatly important to you and seems to have great importance to the people around you. Of course, you're going to experience anxiety, because anxiety is rooted in the unknown. And the ultimate unknown here for Aloy is, will this work? Is any of this going to matter? Is what I'm about to devote tons of my life over the next 4 months to going to have the impact that I hope it has? And the reality is, she doesn't have the answer. And the small little bits of anxiety, Aloy generally skews in the direction of answering that question for herself by saying, yes, I will get it done. Yes. But this is a big deal. And she's quite alone in understanding all of this and having the capabilities that she has in order to solve this. So experiencing this anxiety and then acknowledging it for herself, and then using this opportunity to ask somebody who theoretically is in a better place to evaluate her prowess as it relates to accomplishing this task, is a perfectly reasonable thing. I see that as something that's very healthy for her to do here, because this is her leaning into the vulnerability of this. There is one caveat that I want to make sure I talk about with this, particularly in Aloy's spot here, which is, when Gaia answers this question, Aloy needs to integrate it. The difference between somebody who seeks reassurance for anxiety and somebody who seeks excessive reassurance to their detriment for anxiety is when a person receives the reassurance from the person that they've asked and then doesn't internalize it, where it bounces off of them, or they create all sorts of narratives that run in counter to it. So if Aloy asks this question and Gaia says, yes, Aloy, I believe that you are equipped to do this. It's not a competition with the original Elizabeth. You have a problem in front of you and the capabilities to solve it, and I believe in you. It is deeply important for Aloy in that moment to hear that and say, Gaia is totally entitled to that opinion, and because I asked her, I'm going to trust her answer. A person who's going to perpetuate their anxiety in this situation is going to hear Gaia say what I just said and go, no, she couldn't possibly believe that. She's just saying that to make me feel better. But I'm still, that's going to make your anxiety worse. And then you're going to keep asking Gaia. And then you're going to ask Varl. And then you're going to ask Zoe. And then you're going to ask Poseidon, and then you're going to ask all these other things. You're going to continue to ask this, and all that does is continue to cultivate this sense of, I am not capable of this. I'm anxious about whether this will get done. And so you're not actually doing yourself any favor in that point by asking for that reassurance. So I really want to stop and pause and talk about this before Gaia talks, because this is a really key moment relative to those of you that have been watching this series all the way since Zero Dawn. You probably would have expected that I would pause it here, because this is a very key moment for Aloy's anxiety management and her orientation of herself to the task at hand. So it's okay for her to ask the question. Trust Gaia's answer. Allow yourself to really have it soak in. If you don't do that, you're just shooting yourself in the foot.
Absolutely. In her last message, my predecessor declared her unwavering conviction in your success. In you, all things are possible. You prevailed in purging Hades and rebooting my system core. You will prevail in this.
Thank you, Gaia. Well, I guess I should get going.
I have unlocked the facility's exits. One leads onward to the west. The other leads back down the mountain to Plainsong, should you wish to return east.
Varl?
Whoa! Gonna have to get used to that. That's you, Aloy?
Yeah. Gaia's opened the exits to this place. Can you and Zoe meet me by the west door?
Be right there.
Sweet. Excellent. That's great, right? I sought reassurance from somebody who I perceive to be in a position to give me that reassurance, which is really requires a lot of sophistication. And then Gaia gave me that. And then Aloy says, "Thank you, Gaia." And you could hear the shakiness in her voice. That was a real empowered moment for Aloy to get that reassurance. But Aloy is taking that and filing it into her mind of, cool, I believe in me, Gaia believes in me. That is very helpful for me in terms of pushing forward. That's the way that you handle that. Fantastic. Fantastic work for Aloy. I love that. It's a beautiful moment between her and Gaia. BVisa, thank you for the 12 months. Appreciate it. Oh, man, is this shit good. God damn. We spent an hour and 20 minutes in one room, basically. What is this? Examine Cyclops Council.
Gaia? What is this?
It is a control console for a drone-based imaging system connected to this dome. I will transmit the relevant data to your focus.
So this Cyclops is a network of drones to monitor the deteriorating biosphere conditions. I guess it was meant to display on the dome, but the drones aren't connected anymore. If I find the drones out in the wilds, I could get the data from them, use it to reconnect them and restore the display.
Yes, absolutely.
Error. Data missing.
Oh, neat. Okay, cool. Oh, man. Ah, Vegas is right here. But we still got shit to do here. I want to get drones. Oh my God, there's so much to do. Oh man. I am so happy right now. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. All right.
Okay, I need to bring Poseidon back for Gaia. Varl and Zoe are waiting for me by the west exit. But I could head back east first. Check on how Plainsong's doing after the attack.
Oh, as much as it pains me to not go to Vegas. Yeah, man, we're going east. I'm definitely gonna go east here. If I could actually figure out how to exit the facility, I'm gonna go east. And I should probably learn how to do that. There we go. Woo! Yes. Okay. So. Let's go over by a drone. I want to do a drone. I want to go over here. There's no fire over there. Fire here. Oh, man. This will be the longest playthrough? Seriously. I mean, I've had people in the YouTube comments already say this is going to go, like, a ridiculously long time, and I'm really starting to believe it. I'm okay with it, though, man. If the rest of this game has all this crazy-ass complex shit going on in it, I am here for it. Like, this is so much more than what I even thought it was going to be. Like, I was excited for what this game was going to offer, but are you kidding me? Alright, let's take this dickwad down. Nobody likes you, Thunderjaw. Aloy, pick it up.
Got a piece of it.
Okay. You there. Connection to regional control center offline. Alright, so I gotta figure out, what do I do? Hey, you! Alright. Yeah! Yeah!
Taking you with me. Okay, gotta grab the drone's data.
Haha!
There. Now I can reconnect it with the dome back at the base.
Return to your duties. Haha. Yoink. Alright, this is excellent. Aloy! Below you will find a summary of the subordinate functions. I have included a preliminary analysis of how retrieval of Aether, Demeter, and Poseidon will allow me to effect modest corrections to the biosphere. I hope you will find it useful. Gaia. Aether, Alpha Project Lead, Anders Larson. Heuristic processing density, 6.8%. Function, detoxification and stabilization of Earth's atmosphere. Location, Tenakth territory. Retrieval analysis. Retrieval of Aether should result in improved atmospheric conditions in the region, which in turn should quell the most violent of supercell storms. Apollo. Alpha Project Lead, Samina Ibaji. Heuristic processing density, 4.8%. Function, education of cradle-born humans. Location, unknown. Dude, if Apollo's out there somewhere. Note, the Apollo database and all known backups have been deleted by authority of Ted Farrow's Omega clearance. Artemis. Alpha Project Lead Charles Ronson, 7.4%. Reintroduction of primary and secondary animal species. Location unknown. Demeter. Tanaka Nyoto, 8.3%. Environmental remediation and stabilization. Reintroduction of primary and secondary plant species. Location the Pacific Coast. Retrieval analysis. Retrieval of Demeter should result in improved soil conditions in the region, reducing the proliferation of red blight. Eleuthia. Patrick Brochard Klein. Density 3.6%. Gestation of humans from cryogenically preserved embryos in cradle facilities. Eleuthia has fulfilled its function by birthing all of its embryos and releasing humans back into the wilds, albeit prematurely. Hades, Travis Tate, 3.2%. Destruction of non-viable biospheres, permanently destroyed. Hephaestus, Margot Shen, 39.4%. Design, production, and maintenance of Cauldron facilities and terraforming machines. Location, the global Cauldron Network. Minerva, Iamide Aquilo, 17.2%. Generation and broadcast of Pharaoh Swarm deactivation codes, merged with Gaia. Poseidon, Catalina Garcia Fernandez, 7.7%. Detoxification of Earth's hydrosphere and the ruins of Las Vegas. Yeah. For those who don't know who are watching this YouTube video, if you didn't pick up on it yet, I live in Las Vegas, so that's why I'm excited. Retrieval of Poseidon should result in improved watershed conditions in the region, reducing the proliferation of toxic red algae. Yeah. Bring Lake Mead back. An unfinished letter. I think I... Yeah, I read that. Okay. Okay. Cyclops. Aloy. I have compiled available information on the Parametric Situational Climate Observation Placement System, or Cyclops for short, for your perusal. The Regional Control Center was intended to oversee terraforming operations in the area. Cyclops was included as a failsafe. It consists of a network of 10 drones, designed to automatically deploy in the event of biosphere degradation. The drones would then disperse to various locations in the region, where they would capture footage of the surrounding environment to display on the dome of the control room. It appears that the Cyclops drones did in fact deploy successfully. In comparing the facility's logs to data from your focus, it seems that this occurred not long after the first appearance of supercell storms in the Red Blight. However, each drone lost connection with the Regional Control Center shortly thereafter, likely due to environmental interference. If the drones are still in operation, acquiring their data modules and returning them to the Council in the control room should restore their connections, allowing you to view their footage. Gaia. Cool. I look forward to that. Dude, are you kidding me with this music right now? Damn. Alright, cool. So that drone's done. Guess I might as well make my way up to this campfire.
This will be in my stash when I need it.
Seriously though, y'all, thank you for being here. Whether you are here live with me on Twitch, whether you're here with me on YouTube, I greatly appreciate your support of what I do. And I do hope that the way that I have talked through some of the things that have happened so far has been meaningful to you and that you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. It really has been a lot of fun, so thank you.
Be welcome, Outland. Keep dreaming.
What's up? What do we got going on here? I saw a green exclamation point on my map. I will say though that I guess I kind of understand why these games have struggled a bit. Because it reminds me of a TV show where like you really have to pay attention in order to like appreciate what it has to offer. And I like there's a level of thoughtfulness that comes along with this game that I really appreciate a lot and I love, but I can see like if you're just like sitting down trying to chill and play an RPG, like this could be a lot to take in. They were also, I know, they were released at terrible times. I am aware of that too. Yeah, what's up, man?
It's lucky for me that you're here, Outlander. The name's Jax. A squad of Tenakth is holed up in that cave. I think they're in trouble. At least one of them is injured. I'm here to offer help, but with the Tenakth, such an offer might be perceived as an insult, even when help is needed. Will you stand with me? I saw you speak before the chorus, so I know you can be persuasive. And if things get out of hand, I will be stronger with your spear at my side.
I'll do what I can.
Oh, baby, because, you know, diplomacy is what I know best.
You there! This camp belongs to Eagle Squad. Retreat or die.
At ease, Eagle. I'm not here for blood, just to parlay.
You know the parlay sign?
Let us in so we can talk.
She's got like Darth Maul vibes.
So far, so good.
Long way from the desert, aren't we? This one was blinded.
Boy, nothing gets by you.
Looks like your training mission didn't go according to plan. We're here to help, if you want it.
How does an Utaru know we're on a training mission?
He knew how to request a parlay, too.
He's not Utaru. Or Tenakth. He must be a veteran.
A veteran?
I didn't think there were any left.
We don't need help from a washed-out farmer.
Could have fooled me, judging by the look of things.
Sister, it sounds like they just want to help us. Why not let them?
What do we got to lose?
Well, a lot if you're not careful. I mean, I understand their general skepticism. I mean, if they've been beaten to a pulp and been dealt a shitty hand, you have somebody new come in. I mean, to immediately trust that they're going to help you would be misguided. So I can understand why there's protectiveness first, which really speaks to an important point here, which is like expecting a bit of hostility actually goes a long way, because if you could say to yourself, like, of course they're hostile, it means that you're less likely to get your flaps up and like come back at them. Like this guy and Aloy coming in and just being like, hey, yeah, no, I get it. I get why you're hostile, but we're just trying to help, is a much better way than being like, you know, don't point that sword at me. Like, of course he's going to do that. Like, these four people have been bound together and are doing their thing and want to survive. You can't just trust that some dude with paint similar to yours who can do this is safe. So I totally get it.
You said you're on a training mission?
A machine hunt. The final test before a young squad goes on active duty.
Everything was going fine. We tracked a Claw Strider and hit it hard,
But it fled into a herd of bristlebacks.
One charge right at Kore. He dodged just in time and landed a strike as it passed.
I hit an acid canister. The spray was like fire in my eyes.
God.
Terrible wound.
I should have scouted ahead, spotted the herd.
No. I should have spotted that canister.
What does it mean to be a veteran?
I was born Tenakth, but offered to Utaru in exchange for tribute.
Tribute?
Back when there was plenty, the Utaru offered yearly gifts of food to the Tenakth to keep peace between them. Over time, this tribute grew into an exchange of people. The Tenakth needed able-bodied youth to fight their clan battles, and the Utaru needed veteran soldiers to train the defenders of Plainsong. I was just such a soldier.
Was being the key word.
You may yet need my spear, young warrior.
This guy wants to help us. He's washed up. That's intense. We'll send you people instead of food. Like literal human trafficking happening between the Utaru and the Tenakth. See, this is why when I've been like, hey, don't look at these tribes myopically. This is what I mean. Like, there's so much more to this than just like Tenakth violent. Utaru make plants. Like, we're not cave people. Like, this shit is like super complex. The Utaru aren't innocent and all this stuff. They've been literally sending people over to the Tenakth.
What do you need?
Supplies. Dried meat, ammunition, weapons, camping equipment.
A lot of provisions for a trip back to the desert.
Everything we need is at Riverwatch. A huge cache of war spoils up there, left over from the rout.
The rout?
When our forces drove the Karja back to Barren Light, they made sure the Kestrels felt the loss. Made it hurt.
Marshal Canera shot a score of fleeing Karja from the top of Riverwatch, and her squad gathered the loot. It's all just sitting up there. Ours for the taking.
Deadly machines are known to patrol that place, and the ruin itself is on the brink of collapse.
You think machines and rotting ruins are enough to keep out Eagle Squad?
No, but your injuries are. Let Jax and I grab these supplies for you.
This is our mission. I'm not handing it over to some...
Fine. Come with us.
Fine. The three of you hold position. I'll be back.
Be safe, sister.
We get it. You're a badass. I'm not going to try to give her too hard of a time because I get it. Like, this stuff is like in these people's bones. When you take hostile position against people that are interested in helping you, you are presented with a decision. Do you accept the help of the people that are offering it? And if you do, you are then tasked with allowing those people to help you and potentially even take a bit of control. You are now engaged in a collaborative relationship because you've asked for this help and you are in need of it. She doesn't have to say yes. She doesn't have to accept the help. She could say no. She could say, we're going to stick to our guns here and I'm going to do this on my own and I'm going to show my people that I'm a badass. Like, there are different ways to show that you're a badass, and I realize that that's culturally bound. Like, they very well may like the idea that she is openly hostile to outsiders as a sign of strength, but that's not really going to work. Like, just because it's a cultural norm doesn't mean that it necessarily has good implications in terms of facilitating like a healthy relationship with people who are going to assist you. Like, if Aloy and oh, what's his name? I'm forgetting his name. Like, Jax, thank you. If Aloy and Jax decide that this hostility is not in any way appreciated because they're either feeling like they're in danger or threatened or whatever, then they could walk away. Like, she's running a risk by doing this. So, whether she needs it to be a show of strength or not, the reality is she made the decision to reach out for help or to accept our help, which nobody's forcing her hand to do. So as soon as you do that, you got to like work with people. Doesn't mean that you have to give them complete control, but you got to change your tone. But you can be a badass by being diplomatic in addition to being like callous and aggressive. I realize though that varies by culture.
The ruin is this way. Once we get those supplies, everything will be fine.
So you say.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if this person is anxious and insecure about the fact that they're locked up in a cave in the first place. And one of the things that she needs to be very careful about is not to overcompensate for that with aggression that's also going to get them in trouble. Like, I think it's very important for us as humans to understand our compensatory autopilots. Like when you feel insecure, what do? Do you become self-deprecating? Do you just get lost inside yourself? Do you become aggressive towards others? Do you try to create a veil that you've actually got your shit together, even though it doesn't feel like you do? Like, what's your autopilot? Because if you know what your autopilot is, you can be more mindful of the way that you respond to whatever sense of insecurity you might be experiencing. And then you can take into account the known variables in the specific situation that you're in. But if she's feeling insecure about her ability to provide for the people around her, and she's worried that accepting help from me and Jax is going to further perpetuate the notion that she can't do it without help, and then she overcompensates for that by being aggressive toward Aloy and Jax and saying, no, screw you guys, we'll do it on our own. She is inadvertently doing the thing that she's afraid that she's doing, which is not really doing much to help the people she's with and supposed to take care of. And that's what I mean. A sign of strength and leadership can be acknowledging that you need outside assistance, can be working with others, can be an acknowledgement of, I let you guys down there, and let's figure out a way that I can maybe get some support or learn some skills that allow this to not happen again. So if the aggression is a compensatory behavior, that is something that she can control and something that she could change course on should she choose to, and should she choose to take into account the environment that she's in.
What's that supposed to mean?
Your brother's condition is...
That's not your problem, farmer.
So you say.
Stop saying that.
Hey, calm down.
It's probably
I'm trying
what
to
it
help,
is.
remember?
Yeah.
So you say.
Ha! She is young, so, you know, young people are a pain in the ass sometimes.
We'll
with
have
this
to
stuff.
cut across the river. Avoid the Outlander camp down the road.
Trespassers.
There are strangers in these lands. Just like you, Eagle.
Ugh!
Yeah, okay, so we're dealing with a teenager.
I hate getting wet.
Tough as a Ravager, this one.
I heard that.
You swim so slow. Speed up!
We're here.
The entrance should be right under that arch.
Yeah, well, I do hate being wet and then getting sand on me while I'm wet, so I can understand why you aren't particularly thrilled about this. Oh, am I finally going to be able to get to the top of this tower? Was this locked behind a mission? Dude, walk faster, please. What am I? Okay, was it on me now?
Machine.
Follow her lead.
That's the last of them.
I had that.
Give credit where credit is due, young one.
Maybe I would have handled it better if I wasn't busy covering you, old man.
Aren't I lucky?
You're just so cool. We get it. You're like the coolest. You're such a badass.
I guess the farmer hasn't lost all his fighting spirit. Supplies should be up there. Taller than I thought.
What's a deadly climb to Eagle Squad?
What are you trying to say, old man?
Enough. I've climbed this tower before. I'll grab the supplies.
Come. Let's see if any of these machines have parts we can strip. Maybe I'll show you a thing or two.
What could a farmer possibly know about salvage?
Only decades of experience compared to your very brief existence.
Yeah! All right, fine. Banter away. You two banter away. I'm going to go climb this tower.
Okay, gotta find a way into the ruins.
She's totally just compensating for insecurity. That's all it is. Easy peasy.
That worked.
Yeah, Aloy, we've done this before.
Looks like some kind of basement. Gotta find a way up. Okay, the supply cache should be at the top of the tower. But how to get up there?
Aloy, I really can't emphasize this enough. We've done this before.
There we go.
Alto, thank you for the 18 months. The banter seems like it's disarming her. Yeah, I mean, his ability to keep up with that and kind of clap back is going to reassert that he's got his shit together and that she's not as hot shit as she thinks she is, and that's fine. I think he's just doing it because he's trying to show her, like, you're not gonna, that's not how you're gonna get one over on me. Like, you want to talk shit, you can talk shit all you want. I can clap right back. Like, the nice thing about being somebody with maturity when you're around teenagers that think they're hot shit is you know that they're not hot shit, and you know that they're mostly insecure, and so you can just stay calm. It's the adults that take what teenagers say to them personally that really cause problems. Because, like, when you realize that, like, teenagers are just hormones and insecurity. It's all they are. And so if you just don't take it personally and you just kind of clap back at them or whatever because you were a teenager once and you know how shitty it is to be a teenager, easy peasy. Well, looky there.
These are the supplies? Won't last them very long. I can't leave that kid alone for a second.
Wee! Wait, where are they going?
Jax and Sakura are in trouble. I gotta catch up to them. Making good use of this.
Why did you guys run so far away?
I gotta get in there and take down those machines.
Grab this ammo.
Didn't want to leave all the fun to us.
It's done. I better check on Jax and Sakura.
How you doing, Jackson Sakura?
Well fought, Eagle. Though I would have preferred if you hadn't taunted that thing. What did you find?
Practically nothing. Sakura, there's maybe a day's worth of food here and some rotting medicinal herbs.
There was supposed to be more. Enough for...
It was never your intention to go home, was it?
What do you mean?
A blind Tenakth can't fight. And if you can't fight...
The Tenakth will kill Korra from being blind?
He'll face a trial against the machine.
They say it's more dignified that way.
Whoa.
But it's still a death sentence.
So you were gonna use the extra supplies to live in the wilds?
I thought it would be enough to get us started.
Can't they stay in Plainsong?
Plainsong has too many mouths to feed. The chorus would never allow it.
We should get back.
I'll take this young sprout back. Meet us at the cave when you can.
Yeah. All right. So that makes sense. I'm sure, personalized that and probably blames herself for the fact that her brother's going to die. So not only is she grieving the fact that her brother is going to probably die to the machines, she also believes that it's her fault because perhaps she was the one that was supposed to take care of him. I appreciate that he was willing to acknowledge that he should have been aware of the canister, because to some extent he is also accountable for his demise. Like, these things are complicated. It's not like one person's fault. Like, it's just a shitty situation. But you have to be very careful if you're not her to over-personalize that and completely blame yourself for it, because, like, the reality is, despite the fact that you were supposed to be maybe the leader and you're supposed to make certain decisions, he also is responsible for the way that he shows up to that interaction. And if he showed up to a fight that he wasn't prepared to fight in, or, you know, made a simple mistake, unfortunately, one of the shitty things about life is that there can be consequences for mistakes that really suck. And if this dude lost his eyesight because he hit an acid canister on something that was attacking him, and now he's going to be left to, you know,
How am I supposed to tell
cultural
them
norms for how to handle this,
Plain and simple.
that blows, man. But she can't blame herself for this entirely. All right.
Aloy, we were just about to head in. So what will you tell them?
that we'll have to make do. Survive in the wilds without the supplies.
That will be a hard life.
Better than letting Corey be killed if we go back.
There must be another way.
I don't see one.
Yeah, boy.
So, we're all stocked up then?
The cache was empty. But we'll be alright without them.
I can't let you starve out here. Just leave me.
No!
Jax, you said Plainsong has too many mouths to feed to take them all in, but what about just—
I am not leaving my brother behind!
He'll be safe in Plainsong, and the rest of you can head home. It's the only real solution you've got.
The Chorus won't like it. But if I vouch for the boy, share my rations with him, I could convince them. I will do so if Cora wishes.
No! You're not taking him!
You remember the part where I said if Cora wishes?
Sakura, I think this is the best option. I'm a burden to you out here. This is what I want. Let me go with him.
Permission granted. But brother, this is not the end for us. I will visit you in Plainsong. And no Utaru or Tenakt can stop me.
They would be foolish to try. I'll stay and help them pack their gear, then take Cora back with me. You've shown strength and wisdom today. Rare combination. You have my thanks, and theirs too, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, that whole thing is really rough. Like, this is the thing. Like, if you don't have modern medicine and shit, I mean, yeah, I can understand. It's terrible. I can understand why the Tenakt think the way that they do, though. Like, I'm so glad that in the year 2023, which is the year that I'm recording this video, we have a long way to go, but I'm so glad that we live in a time where generally there are accommodations for folks with disabilities. Like, we got a long way to go, and depending on where you live, it's varied. And awesome. And I hope that we continue to exert as much force in the direction of accommodating folks with disabilities as we possibly can. This is not a time period where accommodations for folks with disabilities is something that they can really put their energy into. Which is really harsh, and also, to an extent, makes sense given the context. Like, this dude is blind, he can't hunt. If the Tenakt don't have a sense of what kind of value he can contribute to the survival of the tribe, and they see him as more of a liability because he takes more resources than he puts in, giving him a dignified way to go out is a decision that's made on behalf of the tribe and the collective, even more so than it is on behalf of the individual. And that sucks. Like, I'm not advocating for that, right? It's harsh. Yes, harsh and brutal is exactly right. It is awful. But this is also why time period is something that we have to take into context when we understand human dynamics as well. Like, it's easy for me to sit here in 2023 and be like, what? Come on. But like, if you're blind and they're like, we don't even have written word, let alone Braille. We don't have anything that he can really do. And he's going to require constant monitoring, and he's still got to eat food, and he still has to survive, and he becomes a liability when we get attacked by machines. Like, these are all very real things that these people have to take into account, and it's terrible that this happened to him. And I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And I don't like the idea that they handle it this way, but it does make sense. And part of the reason why I'm making this point is because it's not necessarily our responsibility to agree with it or to perpetuate it ourselves, but it does give us some insight and ability to like empathize, connect, and work with them in terms of understanding why that's something that they would do. Because if Aloy sits there and says, that's the most abhorrent thing I've ever heard in my life, and you are a total raging bitch for even thinking about the idea of bringing him back, and blah, 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 right, that's not really going to do anything. It's just going to polarize Aloy against him. So you're better off either shutting up or like trying to understand it and then giving him the chance to make the decision that he wants to make on his own behalf. If he says, yeah, I know what I'm in for if I go back to the camp. I know they're not going to accommodate me. I know they're going to throw me against a machine, and I know that machine's going to kill me, but that's what I want to do. Then, okay. If he says, I want to go back and make a bid for accommodations and see what they do, cool. If he says, I want to go to Plainsong and survive, and if that means I don't see my sister as much, but I live and I'm cool with being blind, then great. That's why the most important piece of that entire thing was asking him, what does he want? Something that you'll hear folks with disabilities say all the time is that they are the last people that get listened to when they are asked about what accommodations are necessary. This is an accommodation. This is about the best accommodation that he's going to have, is go to Plainsong. And he said, that's what I want to do. I don't want to be a burden to you. I want to go to Plainsong. It means I survive. It means I see you. Like, ask the disabled person. What accommodation would be helpful? What agency would you like to exert on this situation? And she's falling into the classic trap of like trying to make a compensatory decisions on his behalf without taking into account his perspective. So I'm really glad that he was willing to stand up for himself and shut her down on that. So anyway, it's a cool little side mission. All right, the world is our oyster. When I return for part 14. YouTube, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this VOD. Those of you that have been here live with me on Twitch, thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate all of your thumbs up and your comments and all of that stuff. This has been again, I say this every time, it's been a fabulous playthrough. I am enjoying every bit of what this game has to offer. I have no problem with how slowly we are progressing through it because it gives me so many things to talk about. And the depth is incredible. So thank you all for supporting this playthrough and being with me for the long haul. I hope you will make it all the way to the end. Please do leave a like and a comment. Seriously, it makes such a huge difference. Like, getting these videos in the algorithm and getting them noticed is an amazing way to support the channel, and it's totally free to do. Those of you that do support the stream financially, thank you for doing that as well. I'm really grateful for your generosity. So we're going to Vegas eventually, and I'm pumped about it. So those of you that are binging this series, I'll see you in the next episodes here shortly. And if you're waiting for the next one to come out, I'll get it out as soon as I possibly can. Appreciate you all. I'll see you in the next one.